Welcome back, everyone. Happy Sunday if you're tuning in on a Sunday when this show goes live. Appreciate you being here for the Cabral HouseCalls. Yesterday, we answered 6 of our community's questions. Hopefully, you tuned into those. Let me open up our house call-based document and just share with you some of those questions we went over. So we went over inositol and its ability to help with blood sugar and insulin resistance. Should someone use it if they have hypoglycemia, which is essentially, it can be reactive hypoglycemia, which is high blood sugar and then coming way down low. So we can definitely check out the answer for that. We talked about insecticides and how you're able to detox from those. What else did we talk about? The 7-day detox and whether you could use humic acid along with it. Also, actually, that would be for gut-based healing. We talked about the type of inositol we recommend. We don't usually get 2 of the same exact questions, but we did in that same day yesterday. Then we talked about what happens coming off birth control and you never get your menstrual cycle back. What do you do? And so we chatted about that. And then we also talked about how thyroid can actually affect a woman's menstrual cycle at the same time. So that was episode 2325. You can find all previous shows at stephencabral.com/podcasts. All right, let's get into today's show. First question's coming in from Ashley. Ashley says, I have a redundant or twisted colon, as well as chronic constipation. I've done candida cleanses, treated leaky gut, but now I also have hormone and thyroid issues. Any suggestions on how to deal with the physical issue? Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for writing in, Ashley. Happy to help with this. I know it's obviously a sensitive issue and it affects your entire life. So I totally get it. I've certainly been there before with all sorts of gut-based issues, you know, with H. pylori, with candida, with SIBO that I had, with really devastating intestinal permeability. I mean, think about the permeability you'd have if you were on 3 years of straight antibiotics. That's pretty bad, right? So I totally get it. So again, first off, I have to give the disclaimer. I can't provide you with any medical treatment plans. I can't provide you with a medical diagnosis, and I can't provide anyone on the show with all questions ever for eternity with any medical-based advice, diagnosis, cure, treatment plans, all right? So what we're saying is, now I haven't seen x-rays, I haven't seen MRIs, I haven't seen anything of what your colon looks like, right? Colonoscopy, et cetera. However, some people, I don't know how twisted the colon is. Some people use what's called colon hydrotherapy, a gentle version, a gravity-fed version of colon hydrotherapy to actually add more tone back to the colon. May be right for you, may not be right for you, but it's at least something to begin to do more research on. The bottom line is this. There's a whole lot of candida cleanses. I did them before in my 20s. Did all sorts of SIBO programs in my 20s. I'll tell you right now, and again, to my knowledge, we're the only company that has a 12-week program that guarantees it, that's worked with over 250,000 people. And so I would look into the CBO protocol. I mean, hands down. But for someone like yourself, you probably want to run what's called the gut bundle. It's food sensitivity test, it's candida test, and it's bacteria and parasite test. That would look at everything. I can't recommend that enough. I mean, that's what I would do. So you can find that at stephencabral.com/labs. Then that comes with a whole plan, because the truth is, I mean, it's going to be really difficult to give you a whole plan based on a question on a podcast, right? I mean, I want to be honest. So I'm going to do my best for you. Now, in terms of hormone and thyroid issues, you would look at one specific test, and that's called the stress, mood, and metabolism. So let's say, well, you can only run 2 labs. Okay, let me narrow it down to 2 labs. I would do the bacteria and parasite stool test, and I would do the stress, hormones, mood, and metabolism test. And then you'd base it on that, because remember, if you have low thyroid, it can lead to constipation. So that's why it's really important to look at how the body functions holistically and not just look at individual parts of the body. Thank you, Ashley, for writing in. Rachel's up next. Hi, Dr. Brawl. I've listened to all of your hair episodes. I've been having hair fall for the last few years, and I'm young, and I'm trying to get to the root cause, like you say. I have higher estrogen and testosterone plus dihydrotestosterone. I have normal TSH, but my T4 and free T3 are low. I'm wondering if you might be able to review all the correct ranges for your thyroid and hormones, if you don't mind. I have pieced together most of the elements, but would love a holistic view. Would you be so kind as do this? I know I'm not alone on this, and it's very hard to get the bottom of it all. Thank you so much for all you do, Rachel. Rachel, yeah, 100%. I mean, we work with women and hair loss, men with hair loss all the time. The thing about men is that your job is to not allow testosterone to convert to dihydrotestosterone. That's 90% of all men. Now, there are other factors like myself. I'll be coming out with a huge article, 5,000 words on everything you could possibly want to know about stopping hair loss, regrowing, thinning hair, and hair in general. And I'll show you my before and after. As you can see the top of my head on all the hair loss I had. And mine wasn't just testosterone to dihydrotestosterone. It was higher levels of dopamine and norepinephrine. So anyway, I'll share that with you. And I have all this. I have all the correct numbers for you right here. So let me share them with you. So we teach this in IHP 2, by the way. So if this is of interest to you, I would definitely check it out. But I want you to go to stephencabral.com/podcasts. In the little orange bars on the right, you can click on case studies. But if you don't want to, that's okay. I'm going to give you the exact number as well. I would love you to go to episode 2078. All right, so this lab is for you. stephencabral.com/2078. That will give you the parameters that you should be in for all of your numbers, like your T4, your T3, your cortisol levels, etc. All right, so hopefully that's helpful. Thank you, Rachel, for writing it. Zoe's up next. Hello, I was wondering if you could do a podcast for healthcare personnel about reversing diabetes with dietary interventions, maybe in regards to intermittent fasting, correct diet changes, how to avoid hypoglycemia in patients. Specifically, I am a pharmacist looking to become a functional medicine pharmacist. I see many diabetic patients. I want to try intermittent fasting, but I do not want to run the risk of hypoglycemia. Thanks so much, Zoe. Zoe, great question. I mean, Zoe, if you haven't looked into becoming an integrative health practitioner level 2, I can't recommend that enough. A lot of people have never heard about the institute that I run, that I founded to teach regular people how to become certified health coaches, and also how to help people in the medical-based field and the health-based field to also become practitioners where they start to teach more of a holistic mindset. So I would look at that up. I mean, that's called integrativehealthpractitioner.org. Zoe, and you could actually become certified in, yes, it's functional medicine, but it's really the next level of functional medicine. Functional medicine is great, looking at labs. I mean, again, I studied all through the Institute for Functional Medicine. Great, no regrets there, but it's not a whole form of medicine, meaning like it's not a whole system. You go and you listen to seminars and you learn about specific labs. Don't get me wrong, it's great. It's much more expensive, but again, that might be totally fine for you. What I try to do is as a fraction of the price, but give you a whole practice, like how to actually practice, because that's what you're asking. So there's a few more things I can do though. I have a bunch of shows on intermittent fasting. Go to stephencabral.com/IF. Those are all free shows on intermittent fasting. And then I have a bunch of shows on reversing diabetes. And actually, one of the most popular Instagram clips we did was on, well, I don't know. It was the name of it because I have an amazing team that helps me post all of these things because it seems like I'm in a lot of places all day long, but my team, I have an amazing team. And so it's called The Real Cause of Diabetes, and it's talking about type 2 diabetes. And I can't give you the specific link because it's all letters, but if you go to instagram.com/stephencabral, you can see it on desktop or regular. It's up over 10,000 views already, which I mean, for us, that's pretty good, especially just with organic posts. So I would check that out too, because it talks about it's not just sugar. It's really not. It's hydrogenated oils that are destroying the cell membranes. All right. So Zoe, check out all the free resources, and also the stress, mood, and metabolism test. You'd want to check that out, and then integrative health practitioner. All right. All right. Alyssa's up next. Hi, Dr. Rawl. I wanted to get your thoughts on Bach flower remedies. Do you feel they work? That is a blast from the past. I have not heard about Bach flower remedies since about 2010, 2011. And I did a lot of work with Bach flower remedies. I'm going to look up, I bet I have a podcast on Bach flower remedies from a million years ago. Let me check it out. Not Bach flower remedies. So go to stephencabral.com/podcasts and use the search bar and just look up Bach. No, maybe I have not done a show on them. All right. Well, let me just answer your question for you, because then we'll have a show on Bach flower remedies, right? At least a Q&A. So I Bach flower remedies. I want to, and again, I know homeopaths will not appreciate the analogy, but Bach flower remedies are not dissimilar to the isotonics or homeopathic solutions from the early 1900s and into the 1800s as well. And I've read, I've done cell salts, I've done homeopathy, I've done Bach flower recipes, I've done some of the German isotherapies, isotonics. That word is escaping me right now too, because it has multiple different variations of the word. And I like all of them. I really do. So why don't I use Bach flower? So for people who don't know Bach flower remedies, basically you're looking at specific plants, flowers from nature. You're distilling the essence from the plant itself into a liquid dilution, typically a liquid dilution, and a lot like a homeopathic-based tincture. Homeopathic tinctures come from various dilutions, and I won't go into that today. So why don't I use any of those today? Here's the reason why. There's two reasons why. So one, I actually believe that they worked to a greater degree like 100 years ago. So you might say, well, why don't you believe they work to the same degree today? The reason is I believe that EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, pollution, toxins in the environment, and all of these things affect the actual energy of a human being. So like all beings, again, this isn't woo-woo, this is real science. All physical beings, and you can make regards for all living things, have energetic-based vibration. So if you want to take it down to an atomic level, we can go there, but I'm not going to go there on the show here today. When we talk about quarks, we talk about atoms, we talk about like the smallest particles of a human being, we're talking about we are 99% plus non-matter. If we go down to the very smallest level, we are vibrational-based molecules. So essentially homeopathic-based serums, I'm just going to call them serums or remedies or tinctures, and that's again, I like the field, I really do. And Bach flower remedies and other things, they're really working off of a diluted vibration, an essence of the thing itself. So much so when you get to very, very small dilutions, there's what one could test and say, there's none of that thing in there. But again, I understand the methodology behind it. It was a big part of my not my doctoral degree, although certainly there was some, but there was a lot of my board exam as well. So it's something I've read well over 50, 100 books on these things. And I think that they're great. Why don't I use them in practice? I don't see them working consistently. That's why. I just don't see them working consistently. So when people come to me and my team and my practice, and for all of our integrative health practitioners, it's like it's the end of the road. They've worked with dozens of practitioners. They've done the Candida cleanses, this cleanse, that cleanse, this, like they've done it all. They've seen functional medicine doctors. They've seen naturopaths. So we have to give them something that works every single time. That's the bottom line. Like literally they need results. We need to get them results every single time. And if we're not getting them like 100% results, we know all the different variables to pull and to push and to test that will then get them the results they're looking for. So the only people that aren't going to get results are those people that give up on the process. That's it. I mean, most people right away, within 3 to 4 weeks, they're going to be feeling better. Completely healed? No. I mean, like, again, we're talking about like autoimmune issues. They know there's a noticeable difference. So what do? Then they finish out the protocol, which is 12 to 16 weeks. Then they're moving on to some type of maintenance-based protocol, whatever it is, and they're getting better. Like that's the thing. Or they're already better. Most people are better within 3 to 4 months. It's just the people with the hardest of the hard things, it takes a couple more months to be like 100. You already feel 100% better. Like that's the thing. But then you realize like, whoa, I could even take this to another level. And that's what we try to teach people as well. So while I love all the other different remedies that are out there, there's so many things to do. I just don't use those because I haven't found 100% consistency with them. That's the truth. Like meaning like they work for every person I use them with. So, and there's a lot of experimentation and I just don't have the time. Not that I don't have the time. The people I work with don't have the time, the energy, the money, and the back and forth. Like we just give people what works. And so that's what we do. And again, no offense to people who use Bach flower remedies or homeopathics, like no offense at all. I think that it's great. And I think there's a time and place. I do. I mean, I still use some homeopathics in my practice. I just don't use a lot. Good question, Alyssa. All right, Ryan's up next. Hello, Dr. Cabral. I hope this finds you well. My question is supplementing certain electrolytes and getting panic, anxiety, and general out-of-body type sensations. Basically, what seems to be happening to me is sometimes when I take some sea salt, Mountain Valley spring water, I get these symptoms. I know exactly what you're talking about, Ryan. So I'll read the rest of your question, but I already know what's going on. This has been happening on and off for 2 years. I have changed salts, but it doesn't seem to be the salt. It's me. It's happened the last few days while trying a new salt out. I won't name the company, but it's, oh, you name the company, right? So I'm not going to call it. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's not the company's fault. It's not the company's fault. And so the company's name is Element. There's nothing wrong with saying that. There's nothing wrong with saying real salt. There's nothing wrong with saying all these companies, like, they can make good electrolytes. So I'm going to cut right to the chase. I already know what's going on. What's happening is you have an imbalance in electrolytes. So the issue is, like the company you just named, it has a really high level of sodium, like sodium chloride, and then a lower level of potassium. I think you even wrote it in there. So it's a 5-to-1. So meaning like, okay, so normal human body, when we look at a minerals and metals test, which is that hair tissue test, everybody should run that test. Like literally, Ryan, if you haven't run this test, I would run this test. It's inexpensive and you just get so much data from it. So run the big 5 if possible, but if not, at least run the starter kit. And if you can't run the starter kit, run the minerals and metals test. For sure, I would run that. Okay, anyway, so normal ratio on a hair tissue mineral analysis is about 2.5-to-1 from sodium to potassium. This electrolyte is a 5-to-1. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because people that sweat a lot and are depleting a lot of sodium actually need more sodium. However, no, not all electrolytes are created equal, meaning they can all be great, but not equal for everyone's body. And it sounds like to me, Ryan, you are having anxiety because you are actually adding more sodium to your body, which is then doing what? Sodium can deplete what? Well, it could deplete 2 things, magnesium and potassium. Well, guess what? What does magnesium do? Well, it begins to calm sympathetic nervous system dominance. Sympathetic nervous system dominance for you could show accelerated heart rate, panic attacks, PTSD, anxiety, right? The higher levels of stress hormones in the body, higher levels of stress neurotransmitters like norepinephrine. All right, what else could sodium deplete? Potassium, right? Because they're partners. So if it depletes potassium, what does that mean? Well, potassium induces parasympathetic nervous system, which would then allow a greater lever for sympathetic nervous system. My opinion is you are just under the impression that you need more salt in your diet when you very well may not. Like, that's the truth. And so I would look at your blood pressure. I would look at, meaning like that doesn't mean that salt's going to make your blood pressure go high. But if you run on the higher end, you don't need to add more salt necessarily to your diet. So here's what I'm going to tell you, Ryan, is that I would squeeze some lime in your water, which is higher in potassium, or lemon. You could do either one, but not add the salt. How do you feel when you do that? Because that's adding more of electrolytes as well, but this time, namely, potassium. Now, if you want to try it on your own, add just a dash of sea salt, but always add lime with it. So if you look up like my natural Gatorade, like Dr. Cabral's natural Gatorade, it's adding sea salt and lime. So you get the sodium and the potassium. And people just need variations of that. So you're going to have to play around with it a little bit, but that's the thing. All right. So hopefully that's helpful. It says my electrolytes were fairly balanced. Oh, so you did the hair test. Great. And, but again, you need to go with what's also working with you at a blood level too, not just the hair tissue. So like, yes, you should run that 100%, but in my opinion, you might just be overdoing the salt. That's the truth. And the element packets are very high in salt. So again, good for people that are sweating out tons of salt. But if you're not, then that's not necessarily what you want. That's the truth. All right. So last question of the day is from Joey. Joey says, hello, Dr. Paul. What do you think about the active EMF protection technology and its claims to stop the body responding to EMF by EMF being neutralized at a cell level? Is it a total scam? All right, Joey, great question. So here's what I want to share. I have recommended the Soma Vedic before, and I've looked into the, what's it called? Like the Blue Square or something like that. Well, anyway, I use the Soma Vedic. You can find it, the one that I use, the Green Medic, at stevencabral.com/resources. And they might even give you a discount code. I don't remember if it's on there or not. We always try to get them. And it uses crystal-based technology. It uses some natural gems and minerals. And the technology they have tested, and they have done some preliminary testing. I know that over in Europe. So here's what I want to share with you. I don't know. I think that's my best answer, is I don't know. So I use it because I don't see a downside. I use it because there's some good preliminary research, and I also use it because it does seem to actually be able to restructure water. So with human beings being 2/3 water, muscle being over 70% water, I'm okay with that. I like that. And I want to go with that. So besides it being beautiful, besides it helping with water, if it can do what it says, then that's absolutely worth it to me. So that's why I use it. Now, how does it work? All right, well, the technology doesn't make sense at first because it does not block EMFs. So you might say, well, it doesn't block EMFs. How's it working? And that's what took me a little while to grasp, as well. So how it works is it emits its own frequency. So EMF stands for electromagnetic frequency. And so again, let's just go with the Soma. It emits its own frequency, and your body absorbs that frequency. Your DNA, your cells absorb that frequency, which is natural, the Earth's frequency, rather than the electromagnetic frequency. So basically, it doesn't stop EMFs, but it cancels them out in your own body. And the reason is that it's being absorbed rather than the EMFs. Again, if this turns out to be absolutely, without a doubt, completely true, it's a game changer. Like literally, it's a game changer. So I'm just looking for more and more research that shows that it is, but I don't see any downside right now, which is why I use it. And there's some preliminary research. So I don't think it's a total scam, but I don't know. Like that's the thing, is like, I can't, like, it's not like, hey, you have to do this. I tell you the things that I believe that you have to do, right? Like the sauna, the water filters, it's just like, you have to do it. These, well, you don't have much of an alternative except just to get all the Wi-Fi devices out of your house or turn them off, or don't at least put them in your bedroom. All this stuff I've talked about on my EMF shows, which I would definitely check out, listen to. So, but I'm in right now. Like I'm in because I see no downside. That's why. So, but I see, again, like it's all potential upside. So that's how I look at it. Really great questions today. I mean, like there were some good ones. There were some tough ones. So I appreciate that. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you. And I'll be back tomorrow on our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Don't miss it.